What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about The Wolf Among Us 2, if it has any shots at being shown off at Summer Game Fest. Now, we obviously do this quite often, and it's almost just the annual tradition to talk about, will this game be at X event? And, the answer is always no, and there is one interesting thing to talk about specifically regarding this game. I'll give you guys my spoiler just in the beginning here. I do not feel very good about this game. I don't feel confident. I think I've said before, like, if you ask me, because it's just beaten the hope out of me, okay? I just got to be real. I've been one of the very few, and I mean, Dom the Bomb obviously does a great job with it, but, one of the him and I and a couple others that have covered this game, and I think we've just lost part of our soul even caring about it. It's almost not worth caring about until they actually show it, and I'm probably always going to doubt it until it actually happens, right? I don't really know what would get me to say, oh, it's for sure going to be, like, get my hopes up, right? Granted, maybe there's a few things that can happen, and one of them is when an insider says it. Now, it's got to be a specific insider, but ironically enough, that's literally what we got here. So funny enough, and this is actually a viewer of mine, it's just interesting that, like, I've talked to this individual. So Owen on Twitter asked Nate the Hate, who's a very good insider. This is a guy who is probably top 3, top 4, like Schreier, Tom Henderson. I would put Nate the Hate, like, in the top 3 of insiders. When he says something, I mean, he gets events, he gets actual games, if it's a Nintendo thing or PlayStation thing. This is a guy that I listen to, okay, when he talks about Persona and other things. But again, so we had Owen asking, can we expect big stuff at Summer Game Fest? Tomb Raider, 007, Wolf Among Us 2. Now, he actually always asks me, in live streams, do you think these games are going to be shown? Now, okay, here's the deal, right? We had Nate the Hate answering, and he said at least one of those would be at Summer Game Fest. Which of them would you prefer? And then he had a couple responses to it. So he's really, it's interesting because it's definitely blown up. Like, I've seen so many articles where it's like, all right, like, brace yourself. And I will say, I'm going along with it. Brace yourself for one of these 3 games to be there, okay? Now, I'll give you guys the spoiler because actually the next video or one of the videos on this channel on the weekend, I think it's Tomb Raider. I am 98% sure it's Tomb Raider, and I definitely can be wrong. And would I like, here's the tough thing. Would I like it to be Wolf Among Us? I would like it to be any of them. Like, I'm very interested. Like, Project 007 is probably going to be the best of the 3 in terms of just, like, great game. Like, IO Interactive is another level, and it's such a good partnership, between Bond and them. I just feel like that's a match made in heaven, and they're super good. This game, Wolf Among Us, could be in such trouble. Like, Telltale could have no idea what they're doing. It might not even be the Telltale that we have known from the past and loved. Like, if we're just talking about quality, I think 007 actually is the one that's going to be the best of the group, right? But truthfully, I want all 3. Like, I would like to see all 3 of them at Summer Game Fest. But it's interesting because, again, that's a question that I always get from him. And those are 3 games I know Owen is super interested in. But, when it comes to Wolf, like, obviously it's a game we talk a lot about, and you want it to be there. One of those 3, like, you got a 33% shot. But like I said, I'm going to default, right? I'm going to say, okay, it's one of those 3. I don't believe it's Wolf. I feel like this game is probably in massive trouble. Something is off. Like, you cannot tell me that everything's going swimmingly over at Telltale, right? Something is obviously wrong. So I'm throwing it out. I'm assuming it's one of the other 2. And then I think about 007. I don't think that makes sense because of IO Interactive, and it probably wouldn't be shown at Summer Game Fest. So I go to Tomb Raider. And there's other reasons for Tomb Raider as well that we'll talk about in that video. But Wolf Among Us would be, I would say, 3rd likely. Like, of those 3, and you got a 33% chance, and one of them is going to be there, I think Wolf is the least likely of that group. So it's cool to see it mentioned. It's cool to even have a 33% shot at getting it. Like, that's more than we've had for, like, 3 years, right? Like, it's good. But I don't believe it. You do have Jeff Keighley. We're talking about Summer Game Fest here, right? And, he is the one who did it. He's the one who showed Wolf Among Us 2. He's the one who went there and interviewed the developers. He gave us technically the first trailer, the, like, long length, right? The ones that you're probably seeing in this video. Like, he's done a lot for the game. And if it was going to be shown, it would be shown, I think, at a Jeff Keighley show. I actually 100% believe that. But I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it. I loved it. Jinx me. Like, I want jinx myself. Like, you know what I mean? Let me be wrong. And I would love to be wrong. I'd love it for it to be there. And for it, I guess, not to be Tomb Raider, because, you know, we're going to get them. I guess the thing is, if you want to kind of manipulate, you know you're going to get the other two. Like, Tomb Raider's going to come out. 007's going to come out. If you're trying to, like, throw a bone and say, okay, we'll give one of these franchises something, we'll give one of these games something, this would be the game to do it, right? Because this is the game that's in trouble. The other two, Tomb Raider might not be in a great spot. We don't really know. But, you know, those two games are perfect development, you know, like exactly how you'd want it to go compared to Wolf Among Us, because there's no way that that's doing better than these other two games, right? So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.